Hey guys, my name is Brandon and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to Is That More Brandon. So in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the 4th episode of Celebrity Big Brother. So without further ado, let us get straight into the video. So at the beginning of the show, David rose and woke up, and his little sing-song was Rise and Shine, which obviously was made famous by Kylie Jenner. He had a little sing-song. I guess that kind of was just him obviously being in a good mood. Coulson said that he slept really, really well, and Levi kind of said to Nikita that he had a lot of noises coming from him, including him breaking wind and snoring and everything else, and Nikita was very defensive, saying, no, that wasn't me, like, I definitely didn't. And then I think someone said, well, you know, Levi's not going to lie. So, yeah, I guess, yeah, Nikita was making a lot of noises. Marisha had a little chat with Lauren, basically saying that there's obviously been one intense moment so far. Obviously, the whole Sharon voting for Gary situation. But I guess as of now, everyone else seems to be getting on very well. And then Lauren says that sometimes you have to say something to someone that you don't like about them, but you have to say it in a nice way. So I guess she's kind of agreeing in the way that Sharon did it. So it's kind of like, I don't think you're right for the house, or you're not, you know, the strongest housemate, but these are the reasons why, but I'm going to say it in a nice way. So yeah, both of the girls were there, both just analysing that situation. And then Levi went to the diary room and basically said he seems to feel as if now one person is suffering from all the slings and arrows, because there obviously is only one person up for nomination as of now. So yeah, it's obviously quite difficult to see, and I think a lot of them are going to feel a bit like, oh, like deflated for Gary, but at the same time, that is kind of just the point of the show. Like, how you come across and how your personality is or isn't shown will decide how far you get in the show. Fern was having a quick chat with David and Bradley, and they were both, boys were saying, we're going to slay the day away, and then Fern was basically like, I'm going to slay the day, get out of my way. So they're having a nice little bond kind of thing there. I guess because Fern's got kids, and obviously David and Bradley are quite young, I guess they kind of bond like a mum and sons kind of thing. I think Bradley and David are getting on really, really well. Like, obviously I don't think they know of each other or knew each other outside of the show, but I guess because they're both young, they're obviously both gay, so that's just an easy bond straight there, being in a minority community and just getting on in like such a locked enclosure as Big Brother is. Bradley and David also were then cooking eggs together, with obviously MasterChef Levi watching on. I guess it was a little bit nerve-wracking because you're kind of having every moment watched, and it's such a simple task as cooking eggs. But I guess if Bradley and David haven't done it before or don't have as much experience as Levi, they're going to feel a bit like, oh my god, he's going to criticise and critique every single thing that we're doing. In the end, the eggs went down a treat. Everyone seems to enjoy them. And then Louis came to the diary room saying he felt like Gary would actually be absolutely fine, he'd cope fine from the situation, and if he was in Sharon's position, although he agrees with the decision she made at the time, he would have put up Zizi and kept Gary in the house. Ekin-Su was having a little girls chat with Marisha and Fern, and she said obviously there's a lot of pressure for girls to be strong, and Fern added, well, actually, yeah, and also to be the most sexy person in the room, which I think is something that a lot of women have to go through, that, like, you know, unless they're dressed sexy, or unless they've got makeup on, or unless they've got like nice nails and a nice car, for example, people are not interested in them. And then Ekin-Su basically said that her first outfit from when she was on Dancing on Ice, people didn't like it because, you know, for whatever reason, what she was dressed up in was just not a nice outfit. It was like a really tight kind of see-through dress is what she described it as. And then I think in like week 3, 4, something like that, she dressed up as a nun, and then she ended up getting through no critique or anything. So that kind of just proves sometimes a point as well, that it's not all genuinely about how lovely and sexy and whatever you look. Sometimes just being normal and just being there is the most important. So yeah, I think she also said it's usually women who are nasty are those who have insecurities about themselves, because it's almost like, because they're in their own little world of negativity, they kind of want to bring other people down, so they don't feel like they're the only one that's being brought down. But I guess that's the same for anyone and everyone. Like, if you're in a bad mood, you're not going to be the most happy person to be around, and you might say something about someone, or you might hint something about someone, they will then feel bad, and you're like, okay, good, well, at least we're both feeling not good, because now it's just not me and my own kind of thing. So yeah, it was an interesting conversation with the girls there, but I think basically, long story short, she basically said the girls who are kind of like the bitchy girls, or the girls who like to cause drama or things like that, have things going on in their own life, and to kind of make them feel a little bit better, they kind of want to bring other people back down to their level. Levi had a chat with Louis saying Dragon's Den obviously changed his life, and Peter Jones, the dragon who obviously invested in his company, is actually a hero. And he basically said that he's really, really lucky that the UK know his name, and he always has wanted to give back to the UK. He also admitted that he has been to prison, and he now goes to prisons to help young people, so people that maybe wouldn't necessarily listen to the police, or, you know, emergency services, or those sorts of like child support and things like that, that the fact that he's gone through what they're going through, he's from South London, you know, are quite... I don't really know how to describe it, but it's the part of London where usually young people end up getting into the wrong crowds and doing the wrong things. So I guess he's been there, he'd done that, so he can speak from experience to say to these boys and girls and whoever else is in these prisons that, you know, you don't want to go down this route, you want to change your life, and I've changed mine, look what I've done, so you can absolutely do it as well, and I'll be there to try and help you or guide you or things like that. So he seems like a really, really chilled, really relaxed man. And I think, yeah, he does have a lot of time for people, and then I guess watching him on here, I have a lot of time for him. I don't think he's going to win necessarily because he's not the most famous out of all of them, but I think he's got a good chance of getting towards the end just because he's so chill, so relaxed, and he just seems really, really just normal. Fern had a quick chat with Big Brother in the diary room, saying that she seems like Levi's kind of a little bit to the side in terms of the cooking, and that the young guys, Bradley and David, are taking over in the kitchen. Lauren then had a chat with Zizi, because I think at this point Zizi, Lauren and a couple of the boys were making like a fruit salad or something in the kitchen, and Zizi was kind of cutting up the oranges but not peeling them, not really a problem. And then Lauren basically wondered whether they were cutting them up or keeping them with the shells on, because she wasn't sure if they were making like a fruit salad, and Zizi was like, no, I'm going to do it this way, this is the way that I'm going to do it. And yeah, Lauren basically had a comment of, yeah, I thought we were making a salad, but okay, cool, fine, whatever, so there's not really much point in me cutting up apples if we're just going to put it on a plate and eat it anyway. And then I think Zizi said here something along the lines of, yeah, she's not really bothered about presentation or how things look, as long as it goes in her mouth and she eats it, that's the most important thing. So I guess I agree with both. Like, presentation is not always everything. If you eat, you just want to eat, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. If you're only cooking for yourself and a few mates, it's fine. But I guess in the Big Brother house, you kind of want to present things nicely, or you want to at least try. And then I guess with Lauren, it was kind of, there was just a lack of communication there, whether they wanted to do a fruit salad or whether they didn't. It was kind of just a spontaneous no, and then Lauren was just a bit like, oh. So yeah, that was a little bit of conflict there. And then I think when Zizi took over the oranges, I think Bradley said, oh, I really like the way that you cut them or whatever. And then she basically just said to him, well, you know, Lauren wasn't approving of the oranges or whatever. So yeah, it was a little bit just catty, non-needed gossip. But obviously I think Lauren heard that conversation as well. But yeah, it was just a little bit of drama that wasn't really needed, just over a bit of breakfast. And then Louis and Sharon had a quick chat with Gary, and Louis and Sharon were basically saying that the Tony Awards are coming up, so the awards of theatre, and Louis said that absolutely Nicole Scherzinger is going to win it. And then Ekin-Su had a quick chat with Zizi in the bedroom, saying that, you know, this for her is like a holiday from social media for her, and, you know, being on Love Island wasn't a holiday, like, it's a completely different type of show. They had a little bit of conflict here, I will be honest. Zizi basically said she would never do Love Island, even though it is a free holiday. And Ekin-Su basically said, no, it's not a free holiday, you don't see everything. And then I think Zizi said, yeah, that's exactly what I said, that you literally only see like 40 minutes. And she's like, no, you didn't say that. So a little bit of, again, unneeded drama, but you've got Zizi in the Lauren situation with the orange, and now Zizi in the Ekin-Su situation with Love Island. I guess, again, both of their points are valid, that Zizi is saying it is technically a free holiday because it is, and you also happen to be on TV. And then for Ekin-Su, it's not just a dating show, it's not just a bit of fun, you actually have to grind, you actually have to try and find love, you have to, you know, try and convey yourself in the best way possible, otherwise you get voted off, you have bad reputation, you don't get brand deals or whatever else. So yeah, she said it's not just a holiday, you don't see everything, as in you see an hour on TV, and those other 23 hours could be people stressing, could be people crying, could be having panic attacks or whatever, or people going out having a smoke. So those are things they're not going to obviously show on TV, but yeah, 1 hour of every day, almost like Big Brother, is not showing everything that happens in that house. And then yeah, Sharon was having a chat again with Louis, and I think they were in conversation with Gary as well, and she basically said that there seems to be a lot of people that are name dropping, and the one person that she thinks name drops the most is obviously James Corden, especially since he's gone to LA, done his show there, and you know, I'm sure he's a great guy, and I'm sure he's, you know, done loads of great things, but I'm sure, again, like with what I was saying with the TV thing, there's a lot of things offline that you obviously don't see. So bad reviews in restaurants, or how he acts towards certain people, maybe how he treats certain people in the industry. But again, you'll never know, we will never know. But It's all just from what other people say. And then Sharon basically said, yeah, he seems to go to all of the openings, all the premieres, whatever else, just because he's now obviously building that name for himself. Louis said he's not a fan, and that James Corden seems to have some weird obsession with Anna Wintour, for example. And then Sharon said, well, hang on, who does Anna Wintour love? Herself. And then Louis said, yeah, he's also not a fan of Ellen DeGeneres either. In terms of the nominations, Big Brother basically said to them that they could not discuss the nominations with each other. Sharon couldn't be nominated, and she couldn't nominate because obviously she was the powerhouse of the Big Brother house. And for Gary, he's already been nominated, so he can't be nominated again. Ekin-Su was up first, and she basically said, I don't want to do this, before quickly running into the Big Brother room, the diary room, and yeah, doing her nominations. So each of the 12 housemates did 12 nominations each. Obviously Gary was able to nominate, it was just Sharon that wasn't allowed to. So I'll just quickly run through in the order of who they voted for. So Ekin-Su voted for Zizi, purely because there's a bit of tension between them, and she felt like the Zizi always has to put her point across. And she also voted for Fern, saying there's a bit of a performance. And then when Ekin-Su was opening up to her previously, she wasn't really listening, and it almost seems like Fern is playing a little game. David said he was on the way to destination nomination. He voted for Louis because he doesn't do much around the house. He actually offered to help sort out the table, and then ended up just sitting down and not helping out. And then Levi, kind of always watching him cook, or kind of, you know, just being eyes, watching him making beans, kind of put him under a little bit of pressure. So he voted for Levi as well. And then Marisha had a little quick chat with Zizi, and she basically asked Zizi whether she'd already had some sort of fight or disagreement, and Zizi was like, why are you speaking so loud? So I feel like they're two girls trying to have like a quiet conversation because they know Ekin-Su's around the corner, but they're already having that, you know, discussion that potentially there's already been a little bit of drama. So yeah. Levi was next. He voted for Zizi, saying that she makes people feel uncomfortable, and this is kind of what she does in her day job, but obviously being in the Big Brother house, you want to be part of like a loving community or family or whatever, so you kind of can't really act like that. And he also voted for David, saying that they haven't connected as much. He kind of picks and chooses who he wants to engage with, and there's not really a common bond or a common thing that brings the two of them together, I guess, other than cooking eggs. Yeah. As soon as Levi came out, he kind of looked a little bit upset, and Louis said to him, don't worry Levi, it's only a game, with David explaining that it's not personal, they all knew what they were signing up for when they came in. Zizi was up next, so she voted for Ekin-Su because they seem to rub each other up the wrong way, and they're both very opinionated, so obviously they, out of everyone, they're the two that are probably going to end up having an argument first. And she also voted for Lauren. She doesn't like picky people, and the whole issue with something wrong with the oranges situation, she just felt like that was just a little bit not really needed, so she voted for her. And then as soon as Zizi came out, Coulson just quickly asked Ekin, is Love Island the same as this? And she basically said, no, this is not Love Island, this is not the same, it's a completely different show, like, can we just stop talking about it? And then I guess there was a few of them that were a bit like, God, like, we can't ask her any questions about Love Island, because I think that's the thing, she doesn't want to be seen as just the girl from Love Island. She wants to build her brand, she wants to, you know, go on to do other projects and things. So yes, she was from Love Island, and that's the show that she got famous from, but that's not all she is. She has other sides to her as well. So up next was Fern. So she voted for Levi because he wants to be chef all the time and inspect, and she kind of said sometimes that things don't necessarily have to be done his way, they can be done somebody else's way. And she also voted for Ekin-Su, suggesting that Ekin-Su was sometimes asking her to get into the jacuzzi, and obviously she's kind of not really at that stage where she wants to show off her body anymore, so she said she's absolutely happy for Ekin-Su to do that, but she's not going to flaunt her her body in a jacuzzi. So it's just a little bit, I guess, she doesn't really want to act as if like she is some sort of influencer. Like, she's done a lot of good stuff, but yeah, she'd rather just, you know, keep her clothes on. Nikita voted for Fern because she's less proactive in some of the group activities, sometimes sits on her own as well. Lauren said, and also for Lauren, saying that he hasn't really got to know her, she seems to be playing her TV character and she doesn't seem to be relaxed in the house. Coulson voted for Lauren because he keeps getting called completely different things. So sometimes she was calling him Colston, sometimes she was calling him Colchester. So is that just a way of her saying, I don't really want to get to know you because I can't even remember your name? And he also voted for Ekin-Su because he has tried to get to know her and he doesn't really get much back, and also he's a little bit scared to ask her anything, I guess probably because of that little situation of him asking her about whether Love Island was the same as Big Brother. So I guess there's a little bit of, not friction, but he's maybe a little bit wary that he can't ask some things, or maybe some things are out of bounds to talk about. Up next with Marisha, so she voted for Lauren, saying that she's a little bit privileged and seems to rub people the wrong way. And also David, because as of now, yes, he does make her laugh, but she feels like she might get annoyed with him at some point later. And then when Marisha came out, she said she didn't realise that the nominations would be that intense. So she, like Levi, also got a little bit emotional. And at the halfway point, Lauren had 4 nominations, Ekin-Su had 3, Levi, Zizi, David and Fern all had 2, and Louis had 1. Gary was up next in the diary room, saying that he voted for Lauren because she's blunt, sometimes can be on the borderline of mean. And for Zizi, they were in the same boat when the both of them were at risk. And obviously now, since she's kind of in the safe zone, she hasn't said a word to him since after that. So he basically said she should know how I feel, and you know, having been in that situation, she should at least try and, you know, comfort me or whatever else. But she's kind of just left him be. Lauren voted for Zizi, saying that the whole cutting up the fruit situation, she ended up telling everyone that the oranges were not up to Lauren's standard, and she basically said it didn't feel like banter at that point, it felt like she was just being rude. And then for David, he seems to be a bit of a drama queen, very loud and a little bit over the top, and even when they're sleeping and he's laughing, she can hear his laughter through her earplugs. Louis was up next. He actually voted for Bradley, so he's the only person that nominated Bradley, saying that he's young and other people have better stories and better history. Now, I guess that's a little bit of a critiquey and kind of a bit of a weird thing to say about someone. I guess, yes, it's true, he is young, he has been on a TV show and has still got a lot of life to live, for example, but isn't that more of a reason to keep him in so that he can build a story, he can get to know other people, he can get to tell them his story so far and maybe get advice for where to go going forward, rather than just all the people that we already know. We know they've got a whole life of career and a whole life of history and drama and whatever else. Maybe we want to see some new people, some fresh, you know, new young influencers, content creators and things like that coming through. So maybe that's a reason to keep Bradley in, and I think he seems really nice so far. So yeah, anyway, Louis voted for him. And also, Louis nominated Zizi. He said he didn't know her when she came in, still doesn't really get to know her now. And there are so many more better people, more known people, or more talented people in the house. Again, very brutal here. He also said that she seems to be full of herself, and out of everyone in the house so far, her celebrity status is undeserved. So again, very brutal here with both of his nominations. I think the vote for Bradley was just a bit of a waste, but for the vote for Zizi, yeah, it was very just, he knows he doesn't like her. I'm sure he knows maybe she doesn't like him either, so there's a little bit of drama there. And then Bradley obviously voted for Louis, and he basically said that everyone else seems to be washing up, cooking up food, for example, for everyone, and he's not really putting in the same effort. So if you're kind of living with people, you want to make sure that everyone's doing something to make the place livable. And he also voted for Lauren, saying that some of her little comments, the whole egg situation thing, she basically said to him that his eggs looked dead. So I guess not the nicest way, especially when someone's actually trying to make something for the first time, for example, or, you know, there's a lot of pressure in a social setting to not burn things. He felt a little bit, yeah, outsided from that. And then Gary had a quick chat with Fern, basically saying, if I leave, I have been here for 1/3 of the time, because obviously the show's only going to be 19 days long, so we're only going to have 3 weeks of reviews. Thank goodness for that, not 6 weeks at Love Island. Yeah, he'll have been there for 1/3 of the time, and he survived a week, so yeah, he would have done well. And then Big Brother basically announced that the other people up for eviction in no particular order were Lauren, and that was it. So it was literally Gary and Lauren up for nomination. I think by this point Lauren may have had six or seven nominations. I think it was 6 in this point, because it was 4 and then plus Gary and then plus Bradley, so it was 6 out of the 12. So at least literally half of the people voted for Lauren. She said to Sharon that it seems like she's annoyed a lot of people, but she's not going to change because that's just who she is. And Ekin-Su basically said to Lauren that, you know, people are going to start talking behind people's backs, so just be careful what you're saying and how you're acting, because you don't want to put even more of a target on yourself. And then Sharon, Louis, Ekin-Su and Levi were all having a chat, and Sharon basically said that the public will probably save her. She has got quite a big audience. And Ekin-Su basically said that maybe some people just can't handle her and the way that she is. And then Ekin-Su actually said to Lauren, nobody's actually come to talk to you since the nominations, and it feels like there has been a bit of a division already, with half of the cast on one side of the couch and half of the cast on the other side. So yeah, that's a little bit weird so far. I mean, I don't know exactly who's on which side, because I'm sure there are some people that just voted because they voted. They're not on any side, they just voted what they thought. But yeah, I mean, even when they were sitting there on the couch, you could literally see about 5 of them on that side, 5 of them on that side, and then everyone just looked a bit confused. Fern came to the diary room and basically said, I'm really, you know, disappointed that Lauren has been nominated. I don't know who would vote for her because she's kind of been nothing but nice, but I am pleased that I'm not on the nominations list. She said that the fact that Lauren cleans the toilets, she's got a lot of banter and she seems to be really fun to be around. She doesn't know why anyone would vote her, but at least 1 or 2 people have voted for her. And then Louis basically said to Lauren that, you know, he loves all the things that she says, and she said to the both of them, I'm not changing. And Sharon admitted that she's actually banned from being on US TV because she was actually accused at one point of being racist. But I think her and Lauren basically, and Louis also joined in as well, said that actually, you know, in this day and age, you want to be accepting of everyone, no matter what colour they are, what gender they are, what sexuality they are, where they come from, how they speak. As long as they are nice people, that's the most important thing. And if they're not, you just don't associate yourself with them. So I think they all kind of agreed that, you know, I mean, Lauren sent her kids to a school that they were able to meet all different types of kids. Sharon was the same. And, you know, they're not going to judge people. So Lauren kind of was a bit confused. Well, hang on, why did they come up with that association that Sharon Osbourne is racist? That's just not right. But anyway, they had that little discussion there. Nikita kind of joked with Coulson and Levi, saying that with Coulson, his name kind of sounds a bit like cosplay. And then for Levi, who wasn't really sure if it was pronounced Levi or Levi, he basically just said Levi like the jeans, and Nikita said, well, in Italian it's Levi. And then Levi also said that sometimes in French it's Levi Chutz, so it's like the French way of saying his name. And then Coulson basically said, well, yeah, anything's better than Keith. So I don't know if Levi's real name was actually Keith, and then he's obviously changed it to Levi. But yeah, I guess that was a bit of a joke, and then Levi was like, why did you have to say that? Why did you have to say that? So I guess maybe that's his real name. And then Bradley had a little chat with Marisha, so I guess he kind of opened up a little bit here. So he said that he wrote a children's book about a young boy growing up, finding out he's autistic or neurodiverse, and he basically said, well, yeah, that whole book's about me. And she basically asked him how it's affected him so far, and he said, well, he's got his coping mechanisms, but I guess during some points of his life, he did say growing up, he did feel different to a lot of other young people and a lot of other kids, for example. And she basically said to him, you're doing really, really well. And Bradley said, well, thank you very much, but, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm just not doing everything right. And she said, no, you're doing everything right so far. He had a little cry, basically said, I didn't want to cry on national TV. And she goes, well, you are crying on national TV, come here. Gave him a big hug, and that was really, really nice. And then David and Bradley had a little dance outside, basically singing about something, and then saying, like, we're going to spill nothing but the tea. They were having a little, you know, gay dance in the kitchen. And then, yeah, 3 people came to the diary room before the end of the show. So first it was Lauren. So she basically said to Big Brother that she was in shock. She's having a nice time so far, and definitely more than 2 people have voted for her, and she's not really sure who it is. She doesn't like snakes, so she knows that there are people there who are maybe not saying anything and that have actually voted for her, but I guess you can't also talk about the nominations either. And she said she's trying to be as best as she can, but, you know, she's not going to change, basically. Bradley, Coulson, David, Nikita and Zizi were all sitting in the garden at this point having a quick chat about Sharon. Bradley said Sharon's a lot more than he thought. David said that, you know, they're eating off the same spoon as Sharon Osbourne, and Zizi explained it's a bit of a surreal situation, and I think even with the nominations, she kind of put her head on Sharon, being like, oh my god, that's literally Sharon Osbourne. Then Ekin-Su went into the diary room saying that Lauren's nomination was a little bit of a big surprise, and maybe said that, you know, sometimes Lauren says what she feels and some people see her as a threat in the game, potentially Zizi. And she said that she has also noticed a divide between the housemates, and there has already been some whisperers going around already. So, you know, she's not a stupid person. I think none of them are stupid. They all kind of know that there's a bit of a split. Like, they're not all coming together having dinner anymore, or from last night's episode we haven't seen that. So yeah, let's see what actually happens next. Bradley, Ekin-Su, David and Nikita were all sitting in the bathroom, and I think at this point both Bradley and Ekin-Su were pretending to be seals. And yeah, Bradley was like, oh, who's the best seal? And I think David was kind of just there like, why am I here? Lauren then had a quick chat with Sharon and Louis, and she basically said that Zizi is young and obviously very opinionated. Louis basically said that she hasn't done anything, and then Sharon jumped in and said, well, actually no, she has built like quite a good career for herself. Like, she has done very, very well for herself, but sometimes she just is very opinionated. And Lauren said, yeah, she's getting on my nerves a little bit. And then obviously Zizi came to the diary room saying, you know, everyone actually gets along. She'll be interested to see if there's any arguments anywhere. And then Louis had a chat with Lauren, obviously discussing nominations without actually discussing nominations. And he basically said, yeah, there's at least 3 people who have voted for you, potentially also one of the boys as well. And then Lauren basically said, yeah, you know, especially with someone like Bradley, she wasn't really sure where he was going to place her in terms of whether he did or didn't nominate her. So yeah, he just said, thank you, Louis, for being there for me. And then obviously, along with some of the others who were already in bed, like Marisha and Gary, I think they were all getting ready to go to bed. They obviously went to bed. And yeah, we just saw the credits. It was Gary or Lauren. One of them was to be evicted from the show on Friday's episode. So yeah, I think as of now, I personally think Lauren's going to stay, just because I feel like she's got a bigger fan base. I know half of the cast voted for her in the nominations, and Gary was only there because of Sharon, but I think she's on a show that, you know, you're supposed to be opinionated, you're supposed to be loud, you're supposed to be bubbly, and it'll be more fun if she stays, because then potentially there's 3 or 4 different avenues for drama to happen, or arguments or disagreements or whatever. And then yeah, with Gary, he's kind of, for me as well, like what Sharon said, he's kind of just there, a bit out of his depth. So yeah, I don't really see much from him unless he's going to try and entertain everyone in the episode before he gets potentially evicted from the show. So yeah, not sure what's going to happen. I think I prefer Lauren to stay, but yeah, we won't find out until Friday's episode. So if you did enjoy my review, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and until my next review, thank you for watching and goodbye.